Well, there are many different electric companies in this country, and some of them are quite progressive on these issues and others are not. I do think that it is unlikely we're going to have many more pulverized coal plants built in this country. One of the reasons is, in a little-known decision last year, the Supreme Court ruled that carbon dioxide emissions are covered under the Clean Air Act. I was actually somewhat surprised at that, and I think the reason they decided it was the Bush argument, which, if it had been stated in a more reasonable way, might have been compelling with the court, had all sorts of crazy arguments to it, and a very conservative court made an extremely liberal decision. So now every coal plant, theoretically, would have to go through a whole new permitting process under the Clean Air Act that they're not used to doing for carbon dioxide. I don't think they even have the analytic capabilities. So just in terms of ability to tie these things up in court, I think if the lawyers would consult me, they could probably shut down most of the coal plants. The other thing about it is, I think I warn in my book into falling into the trap that we can just be oblivious to the need for new energy. And I take on what I call the ideologies of the right and left, and one of the ideologies of the left is we can do without any form of energy. I don't think I'm falling into that trap, because we, since the mid-90s, we pretty much shut down all the utility conservation programs. The utilities used to have conservation programs. The easiest way to save energy is not alternate fuels, it's being more efficient. And there's so many things that could be done under state programs. So for me, I wouldn't draw a line in the sand and say never, never build a coal plant. But at least until there's been some serious effort at a conservation program, I don't see why it's justified. And the reason is, and this is an important point that's often overlooked, you build that coal plant and it's going to be operating 30, 40 years from now. And the point that is missed, and it's the most important energy point I think there is, and I probably should have mentioned it earlier, it'll be more emphasized in my next book, is that the greenhouse gas emissions stay in the atmosphere for decades. So when you build a coal plant today, say it operates for 40 years, and in the 40th year it throws up carbon dioxide that's going to be in the atmosphere for, say, another 40 years. You're making a decision today that is probably putting us on a path in 80 years that's totally unsustainable. So you may be building the coal plants that are going to have to be shut down. So that's why I have reversed my position on this in the last 2 years. I probably lost a lot of friends in the coal industry. They used to invite me to take tours in their mines and stuff. But I just think, again, you have to add up the numbers. That's why I sort of think that we have to build nuclear plants. I don't particularly want to, but again, if you look at the numbers, and Senator Obama is proposing an 80% cut in greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. He's calculating them from 1990 levels, and since 1990 we've gone up 20%. Senator McCain is proposing a 60% cut, which is not quite as bold as Obama, but he's got good milestones in between, which I like, so I give him bonus points for that. So both of these candidates are talking about very, very substantial cuts. And so you put that out there as a marker and say that's where we need to be to deal with climate change. It's been agreed to by both presidential candidates. And then you start adding up the numbers of how you're going to get there. I don't think you can be building new coal plants. Well, we could go to book signing. Is everybody agreeable with that? Okay. Thanks a lot. I love being back in Grand Rapids, and the people that took the leadership in putting this together, Brent and Gleaves and the bookstore here and the university, everybody's just been terrific, and I hope to be back many times.